It says here you want to allow the president to replace federal employees with who he deems loyalists that will agree to any bill he wants to pass.
Yes.
Basically want to legalize a dictatorship and take away the working class's ability to protest and fight for their rights, giving total power to the ones who have more money and not to the ones that made them rich.
Yeah, definitely, yes.
TikToker Advice from Lewis Reloaded is giving the best breakdown of right-wing politics imaginable while saying what we all know to be true about Project 2025. What we're seeing now is just the logical end of the Republicans playing the long game and seizing and consolidating power amongst themselves and away from the people.
How are you agreeing to all of this?
Because I'm rich and none of this actually affects me, and some of it benefits me, even if it's to the detriment of the rest of the population.
So you're okay with oppressing the majority of America as long as it means more power for you and your team?
Yes, I'm definitely okay with that. My family's good.
We couldn't have said this better. Dictatorships don't come to power out of nowhere and without support from the broader population. The Republican Party platform is specifically designed to financially benefit the richest people in the country, and by co-opting populist messaging to convince impoverished and working class voters that they have their backs. The party creates a coalition that otherwise would not exist without bigotry, brainwashing, and billions of dollars invested, tying everything together.
So money has led to your abandonment of ethics, morality, and any sense of empathy for the rest of America. So you are a legal terrorist.
Yes!
Be sure to check out more of Lewis's content at the link below. He has a ton of hilarious and insightful breakdowns of American politics and news topics from a popular position all of us can relate to in one way or another. On the subject of Project 2025, we now introduce Dr. Kevin Roberts, the president of the right-wing billionaire-funded Heritage Foundation, who has been tasked with selling fascism to the American people. But first, let's get to know some of Kevin's politics to find out where he's coming from.
For the inalienable rights of every human soul transcends politics. We're not fighting merely against a policy or a party, and we're certainly not fighting against our opponents on the other side, all of whom we are called to love and pray for. Reminds us that instead, we are in a fight against evil itself.
There truly is no hate quite like this, Christian love. But remember, linking religion, evil demonic forces, Satan, etc. to democratic policies is a deliberate strategy to galvanize the base against reproductive rights, LGBTQ plus inclusion, as well as economic policies like increasing corporate and billionaire tax rates. But no matter how those policies would materially benefit these voters, it all gets lost in the characterization that politics is simply a fight between forces of good and evil.
What about the economic plans of a Trump second term?
I don't think he has to lay out any specifics, Richard. I think Americans are nostalgic for Trump economics. I'm nostalgic when I go to the grocery store. I'm nostalgic when I put diesel in my pickup truck.
The only people who should be nostalgic for Trump's economic policies are the ultra-rich and large corporations. He did nothing to benefit the vast majority of his own base, but again, that's all lost in the rhetoric, propaganda, and policy strategies. People like Roberts are paid to manufacture and spread, which brings us to this horrifying revelation.
In spite of all this nonsense from the left, we are going to win. We're in the process of taking this country back. No one in the audience should be despairing. No one should be discouraged. We ought to be really encouraged by what happened yesterday.
While celebrating the Supreme Court granting Trump and any future president the powers of a God King on Steve Bannon's War Room show, who himself just reported to prison on July 1st, Roberts got too excited and slipped out of his careful media training to address the extremist audience directly.
I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Right on. Thank you, brother.
For perspective, World War II ended less than 100 years ago with fascism wreaking havoc all across the world. Yet here we are once again, but this time with a publicly available plan detailing every step the right is taking and will take to eliminate whatever small crumbs of democracy we have left in this country, while the head of the foundation who authored said playbook isn't ruling out political violence and bloodshed to achieve these goals. And this isn't even the first time Roberts has hinted at such an outcome.
Let's say someone is inspired to go participate in this, but they say, Steve, Kevin, I can't, as Kevin likes to say, tithe 2 or 4 years to go to D.C., but I want to be part of what I call the Second American Revolution, hopefully bloodless or no more blood than has been spilled by the left. What we're doing here is building not just for 2025, Steve, but for the next century in the United States.
President Trump is going to make decisions about policy in his administration if he wins. Project 2025 is something that's going to transcend the next 4 years, the next 10 years. It really is, for the first time in the history of the conservative movement, the apparatus for policy and personnel. That's the most important thing to remember.
This should terrify all of us, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. A privately funded think tank like the Heritage Foundation should not have this much impact on policy and the future of our country if we had a properly functioning democracy.
Is your organization going to accept the results of the 2024 election, regardless of the outcome?
Yes, if there isn't massive fraud like there was in 2020.
What does that mean?
If there isn't massive fraud. First of all, we need to close the border. And secondly, we need to have the biggest mass deportation system ever in the history of America, because it is unjust and illegal and evil that more than 10 million illegal aliens have come to this country. It's imperative that we send those people back, invite them back to come through the legal system. We love immigrants at Heritage, but we also love the rule of law.
No person is illegal and no one is evil just because they may have entered the country illegally. The burden of having effective immigration infrastructure in place is entirely in the hands of the federal government, and the lack of serious reforms has led the right to manufacture this panic about undocumented immigrants to stir up fear and distract voters from the real issues plaguing our country and the true intentions of their plans. Don't say we didn't warn you. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports, and or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.